We've had a great start. Forgot to put us in. I tell you what, as well, I was distracted, folks. I was distracted because the reason we were late is me and Marcel were chatting, and I said it's too hot, and I said I don't care if the temperature's gone down, it's still too hot, and I was buying a fan. Literally in the seconds before we went live, I was buying a fan because I was like, I'm not putting up with this anymore. I can't deal with it. All this kind of stuff. I'd left it a few days. I felt like, we're in the heat now. I'm just going to, persevere through it. And Marcel went, no, Owen.
It's just horrible, man. Horrible, Owen. I've barely got any sleep. The fan is needed. Comments if you need a fan. Yesterday was just crazy.
Virginia says, I thought you were pranking us. No, I just forgot to put us in. That's what the heat does to me. I'm not switched on. I'm not switched on this morning, Marcel. I feel lethargic. I feel tired. But that's not what people have come for. They've come for Manchester United transfer news. They've come for transfer rumors, transfer discussion. We're going to be talking, of course, about Frankie de Jong. Well, when aren't we?
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about Ten Hag's search for a right back, possibly, which is quite interesting. Search also for a striker, and what ramifications Cristiano Ronaldo has involved in that, plus a loan move for Facundo Pellistri. So there is plenty to get into this morning. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. If you do wish to join the UV Members Club, you can do so by clicking the link in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat as well. What is everyone saying this morning? How is everybody feeling? Charlie says fans for fan. Yeah. And it just needs one. I just at this point, ego aside, I just need the fan. That's all I need. But let's get into it, Marcel. Let's talk about Frankie de Jong. Again, it wouldn't be a transfer show without talking about the Barcelona midfielder, his linked move to Manchester United. Of course, package has been agreed, but Frankie seemingly does not want to leave the club. There's the deferred wages. There's the desire to play Champions League football. There's this, there's that. It's an ongoing saga, isn't it, when it comes to Frankie de Jong? Well, Fabrizio Romano did an interview with Give Me Sport, and he pointed out quite a few interesting tidbits when it comes to Frankie de Jong. Now, he was asked, Romano, about what Manchester United are going to do when it comes to midfield signings at the moment, because it has gone a little bit quiet, actually, when it comes to transfer news with Manchester United, because the players we have been linked with, we have now bought. We have now purchased. We have purchased Terrell Malacia. We have got Christian Eriksen. We have purchased Lisandro Martinez. So a lot of Manchester United fans are thinking, right, what next? Who are we going to be linked to next? Because still 3 probably isn't enough this summer. Now, when asked about midfield signings, Fabrizio Romano said the real point with Manchester United, as if now in July, is to try again for Frankie de Jong. They are still working on trying to change Frankie de Jong's mind and situation. It's important to remind that Manchester United and Barcelona are ready for a Frankie deal. Even if tomorrow morning Frankie says okay to Manchester United, the clubs are ready for a 75 million euro plus 10 million euros fee. But as of today, Romano is saying that he's been told that Frankie does indeed still want to stay. He did his classic phrase. He loves the club, he loves the city, and loves everything. It's pretty clear. It continues. This is the interesting bit, Marcel, because there have been these rumors about Chelsea kind of monitoring, lurking around, waiting to see what's going on with Frankie. And Romano has said that Chelsea have been interested in Frankie de Jong for weeks, but they know that Manchester United have an agreement with Barcelona, and also that Frankie, as of today, has no plans to leave Spain. But this is the interesting bit. So Chelsea will not submit offers until they know Frankie has different ideas, basically suggesting that if Frankie does change his mind and says, okay, I've got my 17 million I'm owed and I've changed my mind, I'm happy to leave Barcelona, then maybe, just maybe, they might submit an offer which could then rival Manchester United.
They're looking to hijack the deal. They're looking to hijack
if there is a deal to hijack, I think that's their point. And finally, this comes from AD from in the Netherlands, saying that Frankie de Jong remains under heavy pressure from Barcelona's management to accept the move, which we, of course, already knew. So, Frankie de Jong, the latest news is no real news, I suppose, when it comes to him not wanting to leave, him staying. Of course, he is on Barca's preseason tour at the moment. I believe he played last night, actually. So How are you feeling about this at the moment? Does it concern you that as the days goes on, there isn't a lot of change? And also, does it concern you that if De Jong does change his mind and decides, okay, I do want to leave, then you've got a club that is in the Champions League like Chelsea that's sniffing around going, maybe we might make an offer.
So to the latter, definitely not worried about the competition in Chelsea. I think if there is any club that Frankie de Jong moves from, I think it will definitely be, Manchester United that he'll be going to. It definitely won't be Chelsea, in my opinion. I think he'll want to go to his football father in Ten Hag.
Why'd you do the jinx? This is the thing. Why'd you do the jinx?
I just believe that.
You speak in absolute, Marcel. This is the problem.
Nah, it's not a problem at all. I genuinely believe that he will be going to Man United if it's not Barcelona. He wants to be at Barcelona. In terms of the deal, I'm getting a bit annoyed now. Before I've been preaching, patience, but it's been difficult now. It's been really difficult because I feel like this is such an important deal to get done, Owen. So it is a bit annoying. And at the end of the day, I think he was playing Europa League last season. In terms of complaining about Champions League and all this kind of thing, and it's a bit worrying. It's a bit worrying now that it's taken so long to get done. But if this gets done, this is such an important piece. So hopefully they've got plan B. If for whatever reason we get reports and it's very clear that Frankie de Jong does not want to come to United, but I'm still hopeful. I'm still very hopeful. It broke me. It's just been taking too long, guys. Okay, it's just been taking too long, and it's just getting a bit annoying now. So we'll see. I think in the next week or two, something should come where it's a bit more serious, and because we need another midfielder. It can't just be Eriksen. That's all you think that we should be adding? No way. So I think they've got a plan B there for sure. And it's just this is taking a bit too long now. It's just been too long. How many weeks?
Yeah, a lot. Well, it started when you were in Amsterdam. That's when we were first linked to Frankie de Jong. That was when that first bit of news came out that we were going after. And that's when Gerard Romero did his whole, it was 95% done. It's not 95% done. That was inaccurate. It's almost difficult to give an opinion at this point on it, to be honest, because I feel like we've spoken about it so much. And I feel like Manchester United fans have spoken about it so much. I think back to DJ on one of the Full Views recently saying that he'd kind of emotionally sort of disconnected himself from it and just pulled back and just gone, you know what? Let's just see if it happens or it doesn't. Like, I'm tired. I'm tired of giving my opinion. I'm tired of thinking, is this move going to happen? Isn't it going to happen? I'm tired of it. It is just really a case of we're going to have to wait and see. And as time does go on, look, you're right. As time does go on, then that's when alternatives have to be really, really considered. And I hope that there is that list of alternatives that United have. I would really hope so. It's been reported that United do have alternatives, but it's also been reported that Frankie's Eric's guy. That's the guy he wants. He even said it in his interview the other day, saying it's a very specific kind of player, a specialist kind of player. They're difficult to find. The best is difficult to find out there. In his mind's eye, Frankie is that guy. And you can imagine, certainly, that Murto and Arnold and probably other people at United have gone back to him and said, it's taken ages, and I don't even know if we can pull it off. Like, we agreed a fee. We didn't think we were going to be able to do that. We did that. Now we've got to convince the player. And you can almost maybe imagine, Arnold and Murto maybe getting maybe slightly frustrated with Ten Hag, because surely they must have got some messages from Ten Hag, be like, have you spoken to Frankie? Does he definitely want to come? Yeah, of course he does. Yeah, he definitely wants to come. And then if they're going back to him now saying, oh, he doesn't, like, I don't know what he's telling you. I don't know what his agent's telling you, but he doesn't. Like, he's happy at Barca. As I've mentioned before, I don't think the idea of him wanting to stay at Barca and him not coming to not wanting to go to United, I don't think that's the same thing. I think they're two different things. I think his priority is to stay at Barcelona. His hope and dream is to stay at Barcelona. But there could be a circumstance whereby, okay, if I was to leave Barcelona, then I would be happy to go to Manchester United. That's been reported as well, that if he is somehow forced out the door, if something changes where maybe he gets his deferred payments, and he makes or changes his mind or makes up his mind that he would leave the club, then he is happy to go to United. But that step just feels like a really big step that we don't really feel anywhere closer to at the moment.
We're not moving like a big club, to be honest with you. I mean, I think we should still wait it out until the end of the transfer window. if I'm honest. But we're not moving like a big club. A big club maybe would have just paid the additional money, whatever it was, the 17 million that he's potentially owed or whatever, if he's that important to the plans. Or we would have found an additional target straight away. Maybe even put a bid in. But I do understand if all of this happens and we still get him at the end of the window, I think it's worth it. It's just that it's a shame that he wasn't part of the preseason. We haven't been able to see him in the team, and the team are playing good football in spells in decent spells at the moment. So you want to see him part of that unit and part of the team, but it's just we're not moving like a big club right now. But at the same time, we're backing our manager. That's an important thing. We looks like we're sticking to our guns and backing our manager. So it's just really difficult. It's just so difficult to really sit here and wait. And what happens if we don't get the player now? That's a little bit of doubt is creeping into my mind here when, the longer it's going on.
And that's Marcel. And that's if doubt's creeping into Marcel's mind.
Yeah.
That is big stuff. Do you think we still get him though? Do you think the window closes and Frankie de Jong's a United player? Because you were very confident on this a few days ago. And to be fair, I think a lot of fans, I was with you saying I still think it will happen. Now, I'll be honest, Marcel, I'm 50-50 on it at the moment.
I'm 70-30. 70-30. I'm still looking like I want him part of the side, and Ten Hag wouldn't be pursuing this player if he wasn't going to come or something wasn't arranged. So I'm just waiting for this. I don't know, miracle to happen, if I'm honest, because we need it. I think he will be a great addition to the side. I know that we have additional targets though. I genuinely believe that there is additional targets there. But he needs to be a part of the team if and as soon as possible if Ten Hag wants him. That's all I can really say on it.
Again, I'm very 50-50 on it. I'm almost waiting, as I mentioned. I think that it might have to end up, and it might end up getting ugly on Barcelona's side.
Yeah.
I think that Barca, what's scary is this is probably Barca playing nice with the player so far, and you think of how he's been treated. Yeah, this is them playing nice.
Yeah.
I saw, and for all of those people that whenever we talk about Barcelona here, that get in the comments or get in the live chat and say, oh, you're not a financial expert. You don't know about Barca's finances, rah, rah, rah. Julian Nagelsmann has come out today. He was asked about Robert Lewandowski going to Barca, and he said it's very strange. For a club that's got no money, they're buying everyone they're linked with. I don't know how they're doing it. That's the Bayern Munich manager saying that. This isn't just fans. This isn't just clueless fans on a fan channel who don't know anything about finances. This is Football Manager, one of the biggest clubs in the world. He's going, I don't know either. I don't know how they're doing it. So something you would think has to give. I know you sometimes, I think I saw a report yesterday from one of these outlets in Spain saying Barca won't have any problems registering their players. I'm like, okay, well, we'll wait and see.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait and see. That's what they said about Messi. Exactly. He's not there anymore.
They are very, very, very weird. They do very weird business. This is the last time we should be doing business with this club. And I think this is just a one-off transfer. I don't think the opportunity to buy Frankie de Jong comes around next season or the season after, or even the January window. So that's the thing. I just feel like there has to be a little bit of patience, but it is testing the patience right now. Big time, Owen. I mean, do you really think, and I know you're saying 50-50, but do you really think, we have a replacement that can actually play similar to Frankie de Jong? I don't think so. So I feel like
I don't think we have an
to change a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think we have an alternative as good, maybe, and that's why they've pursued so far. But the line of people saying, and I think I'd probably said it before too, of like, United wouldn't sink 10, however many weeks it's been, into a player that didn't want to come or wasn't interested in coming. They wouldn't do that. As the time goes on, you go, maybe they did. Maybe they did. They clearly got told by someone that he wanted to move to United or he'd be open to the move because they wouldn't have put it that far on. But if that was Ten Hag, again, you would have people going back to him going, are you sure? Like he's open to moving? Because we're not hearing that. We're not getting that. We're not hearing those same things. So
people are saying his representatives can't openly say that he wants to leave because this will affect the loyalty bonus.
Yeah.
That seems reasonable.
Possibly.
Yeah, and I want to take the positive from that. I want to believe that right now.
Yeah, possibly it is, a bit of a game by Frankie and his agent's behalf. By
Yeah,
all
yeah,
accounts, the agents aren't very happy with Barca, and that's not to say that Frankie's really happy with the way he's been treated. Clearly, he's not. He's put it
yeah,
on
yeah.
Instagram. He was liking
Yeah.
those comments and saying, "I'm not happy with how you're treated," so he's not happy with that either. But that doesn't necessarily change the fact of him going, "Look, I'm not going to leave." They can't. And this is where he is the most powerful person in all of this, right? Because if Frankie de Jong doesn't want to leave, he doesn't have to. They
Yeah,
can't.
exactly.
He's got a contract. If he does a Gareth Bale and says, "No, I'm not going anywhere," then they
Is he
have to figure that out.
is he the best CDM out there right now? Is Kante better than him?
They're different players. They're different players. They do different roles. I don't know if you can compare them.
But they're both going to be playing in that DM position. I think
But
that's where
for what Eric Ten Hag would want, he
you want.
wants someone that's incredibly capable on the ball, able to take the ball off the defenders and spray it around, begin moves, start moves. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
sure that's Kante's real strong suit.
yeah, yeah. Any other players in the market that you would
People
say?
have been
Okay,
saying, people have been saying, your Ruben Neves is, and I think he could probably do a decent job with
yeah,
that. Is he
yeah,
at the level of Frankie de Jong? Possibly not. Importantly to Ten Hag, it's not he hasn't worked with Ten Hag before in the past. It's the Ten Hag relationship. Ten Hag knows the player. Ten Hag's all in on
yeah,
Frankie.
yeah,
And maybe
yeah,
this
yeah.
in the early stage of his United tenure. This is going to be one of the sort of a defining moment, as it were, of what was going on with that Frankie de Jong move. If we get to the end of the transfer window and de Jong's still a Barcelona player, and we haven't signed that deeper line player, then absolutely the United deserve to be criticised, because you would say, why did you pursue it? And most importantly, why did you not have that line in the sand for when to walk away and when to find that alternative? Because we have heard those reports of alternatives, but there's been no real concrete reports of us actually pursuing them at this point in time.
He's saying he's looking for the right players, Owen. So maybe Ruben Neves is not the right player. Imagine that. Maybe Ruben Neves is not one of the right players for what he wants.
Who is then? Who is? We don't see it.
Yeah, yeah. And maybe it's better that way. That things are under wraps. That if the second target, whoever it is, we don't know yet, and it's not Man United tax has not been touted around this player.
I feel you are reaching there, my friend. You are reaching when you start going. Maybe it's better we don't know. Maybe it's better we haven't been linked to anyone. We know United. Look, if they're going after someone, it's out there in the press. Very rarely.
Mm-hmm.
Is it not? Does it catch us by surprise? Even Terrell Malacia, whilst it happened very quickly, we had been linked with him a couple of weeks prior. So the fact when you hear radio silence from Manchester United when it comes to transfers, that means nothing's happening when it comes to going after him. I feel like all of the eggs are firmly in the Frankie de Jong basket, as it were. As I mentioned, I think they said that. Here, Fabrizio Romano to give me sport. United's plan A, B, C is all Frankie de Jong. No negotiations with other options at the moment.
That's why I think it could be that's why I'm still confident, because if they're going all in, I think they'll end up paying the top price if it's necessary, if it's absolutely necessary.
Well, they've already paid it. They've already paid the top price. They've agreed the price.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not even
yeah.
that, is it?
Yeah,
it's the player.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. I don't know what's going on. He needs to sort it out. He needs to sort it out.
You flip-flop quickly.
Yeah. You need to sort it out, man. Just needs to sort it out. It's taking too long.
We've got over 1,200 people watching. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. Let's do a quick like check. We're currently on it. Marcel. We're over 1,200. Only 128 likes.
What
kind of ratio is that?
Yeah, what kind of ratio is that?
Yeah. It's got to be a bug in the system, surely. The UV community would never do that to us, surely.
500 likes, guys, minimum.
Yeah. 500 is always the benchmark. So let's see if we can get there. And as I mentioned, be sure to subscribe as well. Bottom right-hand corner. Let's talk right backs. We've been hearing all summer that Manchester United are looking at their right-back options. Fabrizio Romano once again said that he's been told that Eric Ten Hag is really happy with Diogo Dalot at right-back. Ten Hag considers Dalot as an important part of the team. However, a signing of a right-back, which has been linked to United, depends on Aaron Wan-Bissaka. The priority is to find a solution for Wan-Bissaka and create some competition for Diogo Dalot. So it would appear, Marcel, that Dalot is the number one choice at right-back now. Yeah. And any signing, whether it comes to Dumfries or someone like that we've been linked to, depends on the outgoing of Wan-Bissaka. Interesting, actually, that we're talking about right backs, because after the game yesterday, you said some things about Diogo Dalot, which
Yeah.
people didn't necessarily agree with.
Yeah. But I just, I don't know. He shouldn't be the benchmark right back for our side. He's done well so far. He's done well
He
so
played
far.
well yesterday.
Yeah, he did play well. But he shouldn't be the benchmark, right? But we even said it in the watch along. We need somebody that makes him look over his shoulder, or that's pushing. He's not the benchmark, man. We've seen him get roasted, and against Villarreal. We've seen him. He's had difficult games, so I don't know if that. I'm a bit worried that he's the starting right back. Yes, offensively very good at times. I don't think the best performance from him last game. I think the Liverpool one was a bit better for me personally. But you
Really,
know,
I thought he had a really good game yesterday.
yeah, I know a lot of people are saying that, which is quite
Yeah.
interesting. Which is quite interesting. Fair enough, but I don't know. I just don't think that's a safe option. We need somebody that's a bit better than him. That's got a bit better, stronger defensive game.
I felt that he got an assist yesterday, which he's been criticised for. He could have had another assist if Bruno hadn't skied it over the bar
Skied
in
it
the
over the
second
bar,
half.
yeah,
That'd have
yeah,
been 2 assists. I thought he played well. Granted, as we keep saying, look, it's pre-season. It's
yeah,
against the Crystal Palace side that wasn't a strong
yeah.
Crystal Palace side. I
He
think a
didn't have
lot of
Louis
people
Saha
maybe
to
are
deal with.
looking, yeah, exactly. Didn't have those wide players at all to deal with, really. All their strongest players were not over in Australia for a variety of reasons. So I agree with you. I do think that the standard possibly should be higher in the right back position.
Yeah,
Last season, did we see enough from Diogo Dalot to be like, okay, he should be, or we shouldn't not be considering signing a right back? I still think there
yeah.
is improvements, or there's improvements in the market as well. I think. So that's one point. You could say though with Dalot, couldn't you? Is that he's a young player. He's a young player. He began last season as not the first choice right back. That only really happened when Ranić came in. And when Ranić did come in, look, we know that United side of the dressing room was a mess at the time anyway. Maybe Dalot deserves an opportunity for a full season in that starting right back role. He's still young. He can develop into a proper quality right back. We've heard all of this stuff about his qualities when it comes to crossing and deliveries. Have we really seen it yet? Not really.
Yeah.
But maybe under Ten Hag's about developing players and making them better. So the idea for me that Dalot is the first choice right back, I don't mind because I think Wan-Bissaka is just not at the level required. The question
True.
then would be like, getting rid of Wan-Bissaka doesn't appear to be a ton of suitors.
No, I was hearing something about him going back to Crystal Palace, to be honest.
Yeah, possibly on loan or something like
Possibly,
that. Yeah.
yeah, on loan. So there's that. But you're right. The low, last season, one of the standouts maybe under Ralph, had a few decent games under Ralph last season, and hopefully he's maybe kicking on and developing on from that. But I don't know. Just defensively not good enough for me. I can see us having a huge problem, if he's not on game. He's got a good relationship with Sancho building there, potentially.
Yeah.
Definitely good combinations there, but and there's positives to build on from that. But defensively, I just don't trust that kind of player, if I'm honest. We need an upgrade on him, an all-round better fullback. But you've seen good things like him switching the ball well, inside passing, underlaps. A bit more of that in the previous 2 games for me personally. But he's good. He is good offensively. But defensively is a big issue for me.
Yeah, I do agree. There have been instances last season. I used to criticize, and I have criticized Wan-Bissaka for this all the time. When a ball comes in the box, players behind Wan-Bissaka, no idea he's there.
No idea,
Absolutely zero. You'll then look over the shoulder when it's too late and go, oh, they scored. And I have seen Dalot do the same thing.
yeah.
Granted, when I have brought that up in the past, people say, well, it's also about the right winger tracking back. In certain instances, that's someone like a Rashford or even a Sancho. Maybe they're not doing the defensive work as much. That's true too. I agree with what you were saying there about the relationship between him and Sancho. I think has looked really positive, especially in the game yesterday. I thought in the first half and then the early stages of the second half where we played really well, that relationship between him and Sancho does look quite strong. As you mentioned, Dalot doing the overlaps or underlaps, giving the defender a difficult option to know where to go. It opens space up a little bit for Sancho, who when he just has a little bit of space, just completely thrives. And Sancho's just been absolutely incredible. And those front three, to be honest, talk about a front three that was written off before this tour. I mean, people had, I guess, high-ish hopes for Sancho. The idea was, okay, settled in now. This is going to be a big season. But look, people like Rashford and Martial, I mean, I probably was part of it, writing them off before the tour started, and they've been absolutely fantastic in the first few games. And, I think that the right back position at the moment, I think there are better options on the market.
Yeah.
If that deal can be done, I would still do it because I think there'll be good competition for that right back spot. And especially, as Ten Hag said, look, long season, big season. Those both players in that position are going to be used a lot.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a case of Dalot playing every single game. That backup's going to be playing a lot more games than people think because of the Europa League, because of, again, after the World Cup, etc. So we'll need strong backup and we'll need strong competition there. And I don't think Aaron Wan-Bissaka is that. Again, we've been linked to people like Dumfries, etc. So I think that might be a good option. But it does depend on Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And we're not going to get the money we got for him.
Exactly. But the kind of fullback that we're maybe looking for at the top level is maybe Hakimi, someone like Hakimi. That's the kind of level, because he's good going forward, but he's got the recovery pace defensively. Maybe 1v1's very quick, creative going forward, adds a lot, going forward as well. It's that kind of level that you're looking for. Obviously, I don't know if he's on the market, but it's gonna be that the low's not good enough for me, and that's maybe a priority position. Yes, we need to add to the forward line, like you mentioned. You've got these very fluid front three, but who else do you have to replace them? That's not a huge quality drop, because you've got obviously Ahmad, Facundo, but it drops a lot in quality. Even Alanga right now, they haven't been brilliant or the same level. And then it's the same thing with the right back situation. There's a little bit of a drop off when Wan-Bissaka comes in. So
Abub says, listen, if the manager says he's good enough, he's good enough. We're not the manager. And is that a good point? As Romano said, Eric Ten Hag's really happy with Dalot. If Ten Hag's happy with him, do we just need to say, wow, obviously he's seeing something. And even in these 3 games so far, he's managing to get more out of some of these players than we saw most of last season. And it's only pre-season.
Yeah. He obviously predominantly is the one that would judge what happens. And we got to trust. I'm trusting what he's doing with the squad. I'm trusting with the Frankie de Jong decision. I'm trusting what he's going to do with this. With who starts as the right back, I'm trusting what's going to happen. So I'm definitely gonna believe in whoever he starts with. And there's a partnership clearly building with Sancho. I can't deny that. It does look like we were talking about the left side being really strong. It looks like it's the right side that is really strong at the moment, and the forward line. Martial's really doing well in terms of bringing in the right side or bringing in the left side. I think he plays the final ball into Sancho, because Sancho comes off into the middle area, and it's Martial that plays it, fires it in. Obviously, a great build up from the left side, a good turn from Rashford, but they're connecting. He's really connecting the dots. So we need someone to come in that's of better quality than what we've got in the forward line and in the right back position. So 2 more signings.
Slightly off topic. Well, of course, we couldn't hear it when we were watching the game yesterday because we didn't have any sound.
Yeah.
But Harry Maguire was getting booed by sections of the crowd there in Melbourne. What did you make of that when you heard that Maguire was getting booed?
Very interesting. Very interesting. We as fans can see that he's not the quality required. That's what it really is. But given the booing your players is never good. I think there was a little bit of a period of that last season where we was booing Maguire at home. I was there for that little period when that was happening, very faintly before games. But everybody kind of can see that the quality, long term, he has to move from the club. He's just not going to be good enough. So, but again, it's one of those things where if Ten Hag's playing him, you got to trust that he understands what he's doing. He's ahead of 2 players that are quite regularly unavailable in Eric Bailly and Varane. So it's not even like the only competition there is Lindelof, and Lindelof at times is extremely weak against more physical players. So we need better quality coming in that centre back position. Starting with the likes of Martinez and then going forward, better players. Koulibaly's gone for a decent price. Now he's gone for a very reduced price. But it is what it is. I mean, he's an expensive asset, Maguire, and I'm gonna trust that hopefully he can come good. But again, he's one of those players. It's 1 season now to prove that you got the quality, and Ten Hag said that. He's proved it previously. He's got to prove it in the future, and he's got to prove it in the present.
I think that the booing yesterday. I mean, I saw reports from people in the ground saying it was largely like pantomime booing and all that kind of stuff. But even that to me almost makes it kind of worse because what you're booing a player when you don't really mean it. Like,
Mm,
first of all, don't boo your own players. And I would assume that people there were to largely to support United. I'm sure there were some Palace fans and just some fans of football that were there. But if you are a United fan, you never boo your players, even if you don't like them, especially during a game. You always back your players, always support your players. And then on top of that, if you're booing them just because you think that that's, again, like pantomime, oh, it's all part of the show. It's not part of the show to be booing your
yeah,
players. If you're going to boo someone, at least have some conviction when you do it. And even then, I would say, why are you not supporting your players? That seems odd. So, yeah, that was very strange, to be honest. And I do kind of look, I'm not Harry Maguire's biggest fan. I don't think he should be Man United's captain, clearly. Massive questions about his quality at Manchester United as to be a Manchester United player. The game against Melbourne, he looked like he was running through treacle when he was running back to goal. It was it was
poor,
it
yeah,
was poor. But like the manager has said, the manager is going to be picking him. It's going to be a season for Maguire, and we have to back the manager and we have to support the players, even if you don't necessarily agree with the decisions. If I can go into Old Trafford and go, I wouldn't have started Harry Maguire today, but I'm not going to boo him every time he touches the ball. Like
yeah,
that, just
exactly.
that's very counterproductive, and that's not the
Productive,
kind
yeah.
of atmosphere that you want at Old Trafford. So I found that situation quite odd. I think maybe that's partly like a social media thing as well. It's fun to boo Maguire, maybe, but even so, that's just seems odd to me.
Yeah, we
I
should.
don't really
Yeah,
get it.
it's like you said, hugely counterproductive right now. We need to be on the same song sheet, and that's backing the manager. The right now the board seems like that's what they're gonna do. So us as fans need to get behind this manager. And right now he's been delivering with wins. So I think it will take him time to understand it for himself, though, because he's really what he's saying in the media is what he's doing. He's really believing that these players are high potential players. That's the established captain. I can get more out of these players. I'm not happy with what they're delivering so far, but we can get more out of them. And he's trusting. McFred's been playing they've been starting the last few games. I think that should have been rotated, but I've got to back that he's seeing something in these players. And we knew that he had to deliver performances out of players that had let us down last season. He had to turn that around. There's no way he makes 18 changes in one window. So at the end of the day, I'm believing in him and what he can bring. And so far, it's a lot different. The players look like a team now. They look like a little bit more of a team. So
As Steffi Jake said, they did cheer him when he did well. And look, again, I just, we are not ones to say what people can, shouldn't, and will do at
mm,
games. Ultimately, you pay a ticket, you do whatever you want.
yeah,
If it was me, I wouldn't be doing that. But hey, that's the situation when it comes to Harry Maguire, polarizing, divisive figure. And again, and that's not to me say I'm blindly supporting him and that he should be, he's our captain, rah, rah, rah. It's a case of, it is what it is at this
yeah,
point,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's the case. I do want to talk about United's striker search. Um, Again, this kind of depends on the situation of Cristiano Ronaldo.
yeah.
But of course, we have been linked to Anthony rather, who is not a striker per se. He's a versatile forward across the front line. And Fabrizio Romano once again said that Anthony's agents would be happy for him to make a move this summer. They want Ajax to have a negotiation with United. However, nothing is imminent. Ajax now need to sign some more players, and Manchester United need to clarify Cristiano Ronaldo's position. As we've spoken about before, Marcel, I think the Anthony move is now very, very unlikely, especially after signing Lisandro Martinez and the price that was quoted for Anthony being 70 million, etc. But also, Manchester United do want to go for a striker, according to Romano. Now, Gianluca Scamacca, who is a Sassuolo forward at the moment,
Yeah.
has been linked to United, but at the moment there is nothing going on. He's also been linked to West Ham too. Anthony is a top target, but it's not easy to negotiate with Ajax at the moment. Depending on what happens with the Ronaldo situation, Marcel, if Ronaldo stays, which looks like a real possibility because there's just no one really in for him at the moment, do
Yeah.
United go for a striker, or does this all hinge on what happens when with Ronaldo and his future?
It's a good point. I mean, Skamaka is a versatile forward. I think he can play on the right and up front, tall frame as well. similar to a little bit of like a similar frame to Haller, tall, skinny frame, but can connect play a bit similar to Martial. Um, it does depend on what Ronaldo does, really, because I think you want somebody that can fill out in the wide areas if Ronaldo doesn't come, if Ronaldo stays. But if he goes, you maybe want someone that can play in the central area to give Martial competition. Obviously, Rashford can do that as well, but you maybe want Rashford on either the left or right, depending on what game and what situation. Even though we have seen him captain and play up front and score. But I don't know. What do you think? What do you think we should go for a central area or someone out wide or both?
I would prefer. I mean, I was saying this even before the links of Ronaldo leaving this summer. I said that I wanted us to sign another number 9 because I felt we were short in that position. And maybe with Martial, how he's played so far in preseason, maybe you would say, well, maybe we're not as short as we think. But still, 2 strikers is still not a lot. I know you could say Rashford fills in, but I would still say we're a bit short. So I would still go almost irrespective of Ronaldo staying. Get another striker in. Or if
Yeah,
Ronaldo maybe does stay and it's Ronaldo and Martial, then get another versatile forward in that can play across the front. But there would have to be a similar profile to, let's say, a Sancho and a Rashford for me, because that is probably one of my biggest takeaways that I've seen in the preseason so far is the fluidity between that front three.
yeah,
Again, how does Ronaldo fit into that? We don't know, but he's Cristiano Ronaldo. He finds a way to fit in. But I don't think we should be signing people that if they play, we lose that element of fluidity. I think that's going to be a key thing for us this season. Something that we just haven't really seen that much at United over the last few years of that, how fluid that front three is. Abub with the super chat says, I highly disagree. You guys critique him on here. Fans' critique is through booing. Hypocritical. Stop policing how fans express themselves lawfully. Well, again, I mean, first of all, Abe, I appreciate the contribution and I appreciate the opinion, because everyone's allowed to have different opinions, and
yeah.
not necessarily, not everyone's going to agree on
Agreed.
this kind of
Yeah, yeah,
stuff. My opinion is this: in forums such as this, or when you're talking to your friends, or even in the ground, or when you're chatting to your friends, or wherever, social media, you absolutely can criticize Harry Maguire. If he does a bad pass in the game, you can do a bit of a groan of, oh, what was that? But we saw it for England, didn't we? When his name was announced and there was a boo,
yeah,
and it
yeah.
was just like I don't again, and that's not me saying that you can't do that. I'm not going to sit on a forum like this and say people shouldn't boo players. I would say that I wouldn't do it in that sense. I think everything has its own context, but I wouldn't do it. I'm not going to police how anyone expresses themselves, because that if you pay your ticket.
Yeah,
And the fact that you're a human, you have your right to do anything you want. It's not for
yeah,
me to say that. Again, I wouldn't. For instance, if I go to a game at Old Trafford, when his name's called out, I'm not going to boo. Or if he touches the ball, I'm not going to boo. If
you
he
want him
does,
to do
like I
well.
said, if he does a pass and it goes out of play, then absolutely you can be like, oh,
Yeah,
what the fuck was that? But I think there's a difference. That's just, again, and that's my opinion. People can express themselves however they want. I would never ever want to come onto a forum like this and tell people what to do, because that's just, I don't think that's worth doing anything. Everyone should come up with their own opinions and determinations on things. But again, that's just me.
yeah. No, I agree with you totally. But it's not nice. It's just he's gonna be trying to perform and play for us. If you're booing him, especially at home, I wasn't part of that congregation that was doing that last season. But it gets annoying when it's game after game poor performance. They're clearly. I agree with the contribution at ABUB, because at the end of the day, performance after performance, after a while that just gets annoying, and you're still getting selected, and then
Yeah, I agree.
outside of the pitch, you're saying outlandish things that clearly shows that you don't think that these performances are bad. You're not representing the club right after poor performances. You're not representing the club in the right way. It doesn't help your case, So
Yeah, and that was the same for a lot of players. It was the same when
yeah,
when Pogba was booed last season. I said I don't agree with that. I'm happy that he's gone. I'm happy the circus is out of town when it comes to Paul Pogba. But when it came to that stuff like at Old Trafford, or I remember
yeah,
Fleck saying away at Everton when he was getting booed, I didn't agree with that then,
yeah,
because I don't think that's the place to do it. I do think, like, again, in forums like this, you can criticize, or on social media you can criticize, but but again, that's my view on it. That's not, and again, that's not that's not the case
Yeah,
when it comes to
there's
everyone.
no right or wrong way of doing this.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, no. I agree. I agree. Let's talk about Facundo Palestri because it looks like he is going to be loaned out this summer. Facundo Palestri would be loaned out again. This comes from ESPN in Uruguay, but this time his destination would be Portugal or Italy. Sources close to the player have confirmed. So it looks like Facundo is going to be going back out on loan. What have you made of him in his a couple preseason appearances? Of course, he scored against Liverpool, but I don't think has he come on since then. I'm not sure he
I don't think
has.
so. Yeah, I don't think so. But
Yeah.
he looks a bit more physical than Ahmad, in my opinion. Maybe the same level physically as Chong, potentially, from what I've seen in the short sample, the very, very small sample size. Scored a goal, very quick across the ground. And looks like there's a lot of potential there. But just they're not quite there yet. I think he's a decent player, but he's not quite there yet in terms of first team action.
Yeah, I mean, I think also as well, he's a product of the situation where we've got all of these wide players,
Yeah,
and
so
there
many.
are people there's people ahead of him, and I thought he did okay against Liverpool when he came on. Of course, he got his goal, but in terms of regular Premier League football, you would still say looks a way off that.
Mm.
It's funny, isn't it? Because again, him and Ahmad were those two signings that came late in that transfer window. And it does make you wonder what we really purchased at the time because there was a lot of money spent on sort of both of them, and they're still quite a way off, you would say, that sort of Premier League level.
Leeds. I'm just trying to think of a Premier League side that could take them on.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I said he had a loan move to Spain last year, didn't he?
Yeah,
And this
maybe
time
in
they're
the
saying
Championship
Portugal or
get a
Italy.
lot of games. Maybe in the Championship get a lot of
Maybe. I
games.
mean, I
Potentially,
think, look, like you said, a Premier League move for him would probably be great. Let's be
would be
honest.
best.
That
Yeah,
would
it would
be
be the
really,
best thing. Yeah,
that would be good for him. But they're saying Portugal or Italy. And ultimately, he just needs to keep playing regular first team football. He just needs to keep playing games. He's not going to get that at United this season, even with a manager or a coach like Eric Ten Hag, where he does play young players and develops young players. Again, when you just look at the competition for spaces up front, there just are people ahead of him, whether it's Rashford, whether it's Sancho, whether it's,
yeah.
I mean, Garnacho hasn't played any preseason games, which has been quite strange. But there are certainly people ahead of him. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went out on loan, to be honest. But do you think he's got, a future at United in a couple of years' time?
Well, like you said, you just mentioned Garnacho, who looks like he could potentially be fast tracking his way ahead of both of them. But we have to see him play. So that's another exciting talent that might develop beyond Palestri and Ahmad. Does he have a future? I don't know. We need a a left-footed right winger. So, you're looking at Taif Chong, you're looking at Ahmad that look maybe potentially, might get ahead of him. But I think he's maybe better than both of them. Has been an international. He has played. So I don't know. I think potentially he could. What do you think? It's
I don't
difficult, isn't
know.
it? It's
It
difficult.
is difficult. Again, I
Yeah.
do. It was a weird signing at the time, wasn't it? It was a weird signing because it kind of came out of nowhere, and it's one of
Yeah.
those ones where everyone goes, "Oh, who is this person?" And it's a weird assumption actually from fans because I do the same as well. When a big club like United signs someone that appears to be quite random and out of nowhere and quite unknown,
Yeah.
you do go, "Oh, they must be good. They must because they must have scouted them. They must be amazing." And historically, that doesn't really work with, with United.
Ahmad got a few games in the first team and has scored. But Palestri, for some reason, I don't think he's been added. He looks good.
Yeah.
He does look good so far, but it's just I don't think he's there yet right now. So what do we
Mm.
do with him? And then we need players ready for the first team now. It's
Yeah.
just the
And
timing.
also he'll be thinking as well. And again, we have to remember this with Uruguay. I'm not sure if I think he might have been in the senior squad. Even if he hasn't, he's floating around the national team setup, certainly, because he does get calls up to either their under whatever teams. He'll be thinking, look, if I play a season of first team football out on loan, I'll probably make that World Cup come the end
Mm.
of the year. I might be in and around that World Cup squad. So this is also we have to consider with these kind of moves. Not only is it best for their development, but it's also best for their opportunities internationally for some of these South American players as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So again, that's why that move is probably quite key for him.
Yeah. No, totally agree. I mean, who else can we look at in terms of, Ahmad potentially might need a loan move. What about Elanga? What do you think for Elanga as well?
I think he stays. I haven't been, I'll be honest. I had not high hopes, but I was interested to see what his preseason would look like. Hasn't set the world alight, I think, again, when you've
Yeah,
got
he
sort of
hasn't.
Rashford and Sancho coming to the forefront a little bit more. Alanga's just an interesting one because we spoke about this yesterday, didn't we? Where is he someone, because he had his breakthrough season under Ralph, and Ralph really liked him and played him quite a lot. Did he sort of come through because he was sort of an average player, as it were, coming into a side that was playing really bad? But when
Yeah,
everyone else starts playing better, is he still that level of player, sort of average, that he doesn't really stand out?
yeah,
Or is he actually a good player that is progressing? It's difficult to judge. This season is going to be really interesting for him because his competition on that left-hand side is strong.
yeah,
Very, very strong.
yeah,
So I think he's a good option to have. As I mentioned, in the preseason game so far, I think sometimes he's maybe struggled to get into the game. I remember when that first game against Liverpool, he was really quiet and it felt like every touch he had was not the
he
touch
wasn't
to look
brilliant.
for.
Yeah, yeah.
But look, in the second game, he gets an assist for Martial. Flex said he didn't mean it. Alanga said he did. But yeah, it'll be an interesting one with him because look, he had so many great, preseason training videos, didn't he, with the shirt off and top bins. So I don't think he'll go out on loan though. V33 says, "Remember Bebe under Fergie's watch? He was signed." I remember Bebe. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I think he might even still be playing. I saw something like it might have been like a year ago of him scoring an unbelievable goal from really far out. But yeah, Bebe. I mean, Fergie had a couple of them, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah,
Fergie
yeah.
had a
The whole
couple.
Overton.
Yeah, Jemba
Yeah,
Jemba, Dabba
yeah,
Belly
Jemba.
on,
Yeah,
those kind
yeah,
of ones where you just go, yeah, yeah, wasn't great.
yeah. I don't think Alanga
Can't
will
win
hit
them
that.
all.
I don't think Alanga will be there, but it's just like I was talking about
No.
before, the quality that drops off when you get from that extremely fluid front three, and then you look around and see who can replace that come in. It's just it just drops off a little bit in terms of quality.
Yeah. Finally, before we wrap things up, it's just been reported in the last few minutes or so. It's from Ahmed Shubal, who is the Bournemouth correspondent for The Athletic. It's saying that Bournemouth are monitoring Axel Twanzebe, but he also has suitors from abroad. Now, of course, Twanzebe is not on the tour at the moment. He returned home after Bangkok for a small personal issue, the club said. That's why Will Fish was brought out to replace him. Twanzebe, Marcel, is one of these centre backs that we've spoken about before. We've got this huge list of centre backs, even longer now that Martinez is at the club.
Yeah,
We know
yeah.
that he's available for a transfer this summer. Do you think Bournemouth's a good move for him?
Yeah, unfortunately, he just hasn't been able to, kick on and make his way to the first team. I want to know how Phil Jones has survived and
Because
Tuanzebe ends up going.
he's a cat with more than 9 lives. Phil
Lives, yeah.
Jones, he will never disappear.
So there's that, but it's getting a bit ridiculous. I hope Tuanzebe kicks on and does well wherever he goes. I think but he needs to go, and hopefully it's Phil Jones as well. That frees up some space and wages, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think with Phil Jones, look, he's first of all, you do feel somewhat bad for him because of his injuries and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
should have never been given a contract in 2019. Why
yeah,
he was given one at that time? And we have to kind of live with that mistake, as it were, because we talked about it earlier with Frankie that Phil Jones doesn't need to go anywhere. Again, he's got a contract for still a couple more years, I think.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm sure he's probably thinking, look, I know my fitness is what it is. Maybe deep down he knows he maybe can't play a full season of football anymore, and he's like, I'm
yeah,
just going to keep the contract. And people can say that's a mercenary or whatever. He wouldn't be shocked with his injury record once his United contract expired that he went, you know what, I just can't do this anymore. I'm just going to call it quits. I wouldn't be shocked if it came to that, and maybe that's why he's turned down moves to other clubs because he's like,
say Bordeaux. He's told down moves to Bordeaux.
yeah, exactly. Maybe he's just like, he's not going to get any better than this, and
Yeah.
I'm just going to see out my contract. And I can't do anything about that. It's not as if Jones is, wanting to go to another club because he's like, oh, I want to see if I can get in that World Cup squad. No, he's
There's
not.
yeah, no.
So I think maybe there have been people making offers, but it doesn't seem that he's particularly interested in going. Axel Twanzebe, he's been quite unlucky of injury as well. I remember he was out for like a year with like a hip injury. When he was at Villa, when they were in the Championship and he had that really good season, he came back to United and people thought, we might have a quality defender here. And injuries and what have you just never worked out. So Bournemouth, hopefully that would be a good move for him, as long as he's playing regular football, because even when he went out on loan last season, he went back to Villa, didn't he? And everyone thought, okay, that might be the move for him. never played pretty much. Then the loan got cut short and he went to Napoli. And again, I think when you hear Napoli go, oh, maybe there is something there. And again, he just never played. So hopefully he gets that move to Bournemouth for the sake of his career, and hopefully he can kick back on with it. That would be the hope for it. Because again, no one wants to see like a younger player, constantly with injuries and all that kind of stuff. That just, you don't want to see it.
Yeah, exactly. I was really hoping that he would be able to get opportunities. I feel like he might be a better than a couple of the people ahead of him, to be honest with you, potentially. So I was really hoping that he'll be able to get minutes, but if he's not, he has to be moved on. We need to take a few losses on some of these players that we've been paying ridiculous money on and just make that decision. I think, Arsenal, at a certain stage before, they were able to clear a lot of the old deadwood players and bring in new players. And we're on that similar kind of track where we need to get rid of some of these players that have just been hanging around on wages and, bring in new players, new faces, part of the squad.
No, I agree. Well, anyway, guys, look, we'll wrap it up there. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. We still got over 1,400 people watching, still less than 500 likes, Marcel.
Wow.
Yeah, look at the shock on Marcel's face.
We need to change that. We need to change that.
We need to change the mentality. Yeah, we got to get those likes up. See if we can get to 500 before we wrap things up. I mean, like I said, we still got 1,350 people watching. Just need a couple of hundred of them to click that like button, hit the 500 quota. Then we can all relax on still what is this hot day. My fans coming tomorrow.
It's reasonably humid, but it looks like an all right day.
Exactly. So if you haven't already, be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe. You can also join the UV's members club by clicking the link in the video description. Also the pinned comment in the live chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your exclusive members only content, and all that fun stuff. Anyway, guys, we're out of here. Have a good Wednesday, and we'll speak to you again very soon. Peace.
Peace.